recipe for y'all. So right here I've got some raw organic cashews, and I am just going to cover them in hot water because they need to soak for about 5 minutes. So I'm going to let them soak while I explain to you what this recipe is. So whenever I would go to like a football game or any kind of place where there's a snack bar, they would always have the nacho cheese sauce, the tortilla chips with the creamy nacho cheese sauce over it. And I loved them, but I knew they were really bad for me. And so when I found this recipe, I was kind of skeptical. I was like, how could these ingredients turn out something, you know, that would compare to the nacho cheese sauce that we're all used to? And so I gave it a try, and I was actually really surprised. It was my first time I'd ever used nutritional yeast, so I didn't realize the nutty, cheesy flavor that that nutritional yeast was going to bring to it. So what we're going to use to make a mock nacho cheese sauce, which you can use on tortilla chips, that's usually what we use it on, or like over baked potatoes, just any application that you enjoy that nacho cheese sauce with, you can use this for. So we're going to start with raw cashews that have been soaked, and the reason that we're soaking them is so when they go in the blender, it will get a really nice creamy substance, so it won't be like chunks of nuts. And then we've got water, purified water, and then the nutritional yeast, of course. And now the benefit of using nutritional yeast is it's not an activated yeast. It's not like the kind of yeast that you would think about making bread with. It's more for flavoring, and it has a really nutty, cheesy flavor. And when you use this, it's about 2 tablespoons of it. It equals about 9 grams of protein, so it would be like a cup of milk. So, serving these to your kids, this is a really great option because it's all super healthy ingredients, and it's high in protein, and it's fun for them. So then we have arrowroot powder, which arrowroot powder, it's what I use in place of cornstarch in a lot of my recipes, not all of them, because maybe sometime I'll talk a little bit more about arrowroot powder. But I don't like cornstarch that's the GMO corn, and it's just, better to stay away from cornstarch. And then also this doesn't have like a powdery texture to it. So, and it's gluten-free, and it has a lot of medicinal properties to it. It boosts the immune system. It's got a lot of nutrients. So, it's just a way better option. And some things like a dairy-based, like a gravy that would be more creamy, it will turn it clear, and it wouldn't really want to be something you would want to use in that application. But for this, it's going to be just perfect. We have some lemon juice. We have some Ortega chilies, and then I've got some red peppers, roasted red peppers. So here's the picture of the peppers that I get. I usually buy them in bulk, and then I separate them up into little individual servings and put them in my freezer. So I don't have the jar to show you, but here's a picture of what I use. And then I've got some salt. So I think that's it. So we're gonna let these soak for another couple minutes, then I'm going to take the nuts out, and we're going to put them in the blender along with everything else and mix it up. Alright, so the nuts are done soaking, so I'm just going to fish them out of the water and dump them in here. And we're just going to add all the rest of the ingredients into the blender as well. So I've got some purified water. And this is, you can use fresh or out of a jar. This is just some I had in a jar. And then I've got my roasted red peppers. The original recipe called for pimentos, but I just like the roasted red peppers better. These out of the way. And then I've got the chopped Ortega chilies. Oh, you know what? You need to save these to the end. I almost forgot and dumped them in. We put those in at the end because we don't want them to be pureed. We want them to be chunks of chilies. So I'm glad I caught myself. And then I've got the nutritional yeast. Now, if you want the recipe for this, the printable recipe, go ahead and click the link below, and that'll take you to a printable recipe that you can get all the amounts and whatever you need to know for this recipe. And then we've got the arrowroot powder. It's the same amount of arrowroot powder as it is nutritional yeast. And then, let's see, all we've got left is the salt. So you can use, it's about a half a teaspoon to 1 teaspoon, just depending on taste. So just do it how you want it. So now I'm just gonna put this on the base of the blender and whirl it for a couple minutes until it is completely pureed and creamy. Alright, so it's nice and mixed, and now we're just going to heat it over the stove, stirring it until it gets hot, and it will thicken up and it will look just like the nacho cheese sauce that you're used to having. And then of course we don't want to forget our Ortega chilies. So now, since they're in at the end, when you just stir them, they're just going to stay nice and chunky. They're not going to be like pureed into the mixture. So I'm going to put this on the stove and we'll cook it for a couple minutes, and then we'll actually be done. So I got a ladle because I wanted to show you guys how this is just like water. It's not thick at all. So that's because, you know, it was water. That's all that was in it that was liquid. But the arrowroot is going to thicken it really nice and creamy. So it's just about ready. You can tell it's starting to thicken up. And it just looks so much like the cans of nacho cheese sauce that you can get. That's so unhealthy. But this is just about ready. On me, I was actually really sick for quite a few years. And you know, you might think like, oh my goodness, she does so many healthy things, because every tutorial I'm, you know, giving substitutes, I'm doing things the more healthier way, changing out ingredients. And I haven't always been like that. It was probably about 10 years ago. I was actually really sick. I couldn't even get off the couch, and my hand would shake when I would try to eat, you know, bring my fork to my mouth. I mean, it was just, I was in a really bad way. And, you know, doctors, they just wanted to prescribe me medications, not wanting to really find out why I was sick, but just give me something to cover up the symptoms. And so I knew that wasn't the way I wanted to go, and that's when I turned to looking at the health of my food and just my environment, the stuff I was putting on my skin, the stuff, you know, I was breathing, just everything. And it took me a long time, but I learned a lot, and I actually had to do quite a few elimination diets. The holistic doctors, you know, took me off all kinds of food, and for a lot of time I had to really eat a very limited diet. So as that would happen, I would research, and I would try to find better ingredients and ways to enjoy food, so that I could still eat something enjoyable, but be able to stay within the really strict guidelines that I was put under. And you know, my health journey, it is a big story, and a lot of success. And maybe someday I'll do a tutorial about that. I've learned a lot along the way. But there was many times, so like with this recipe, I was taken off lactose. I couldn't have anything. I couldn't have no cheese or milk or anything. And this recipe was really exciting to find, because there's no lactose in here, there's no gluten in here, everything in here I could eat. And so when I just wanted that crunchy, salty snack, I would make this, and the kids loved it, and so it was a great after school snack. And so it's just I just have found a lot of healing through watching my food and taking a lot of ingredients out of our diet that are harmful, a lot of preservatives, and buying organic. And so I serve this over tortilla chips. I've got, you know, organic, the white and the blue tortilla chips, and then we're just good to go. This is about it. And you can, you know, you can make this in under 5 minutes and you'll have a perfect snack for your kids or for when you want something. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. It was quick and it was simple, but you know, we don't always need to make, you know, big involved recipes every time we want to eat something. So I hope that this inspired you to give it a try and, you know, start trying to change some stuff out for a little more healthier options if you're not already doing that. So if you love to get these kind of recipes, then go ahead and subscribe and click that little bell, because I bring delicious content to my channel every week, and so you're not going to want to miss anything. So I'd love it if you would give me a thumbs up, and don't forget to go down below to the link and click it for the printable recipe of these nachos that we made today. So go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you next week.